Feel the raw chords of heavy metal fade into silence as Brent Hinds, the fiery guitarist whose blazing riffs and soulful twang define Mastodon's epic sound, leaves the world in stunned grief. Taken from us on that tragic Wednesday night, August 20, 2025, in a devastating motorcycle crash in Atlanta, Georgia, at the age of 51, his life extinguished by multiple blunt force injuries when a BMW SUV failed to yield, colliding with his Harley-Davidson at the intersection of Memorial Drive and Boulevard, a heart-wrenching end for a man who lived on the edge of music and mayhem. Born William Brent Hinds on January 16, 1974, in Helena, Alabama, he grew up a self-described hellion in Birmingham, sketching skulls and tripping on LSD in school, learning banjo before mastering guitar at the Alabama School of Fine Arts, his raw creativity spilling into Atlanta in 2000 where he co-founded Mastodon with Troy Sanders, Bill Kelliher, and Bran Daler, crafting a Grammy-winning legacy with albums like Leviathan in 2004, a Moby Dick-inspired masterpiece, Blood Mountain in 2006. And Emperor of Sand in 2017, which snagged a Grammy for Sultan's Curse, blending sludge metal, prog rock, and southern grit across 8 albums that earned 6 Grammy nods and a global fanbase. Beyond Mastodon, Brent's restless spirit fueled side projects like Fiend Without a Face, Giraffe Tongue Orchestra, and Legend of the Sea Gullman, and even landed him a wildling cameo in Game of Thrones' Hard Home episode, while his banjo-inspired fingerpicking and Gibson flying V solos in songs like Blood and Thunder and Oblivion redefined metal's boundaries. In his personal life, Brent was a passionate soul, married to Raisa Moreno from 2017 until their divorce in 2023 after a dramatic onstage proposal, with no public record of children, survived by his parents Dean Campbell and Billy Hines, though haunted by the loss of his brother Bradley in 2010, a pain that inspired The Hunter. His departure from Mastodon in March 2025 sparked controversy, with Brent claiming he was kicked out for embarrassing his bandmates, whom he called horrible humans. In a since-deleted Instagram rant, revealing a stormy exit from the band he helped build. The night of his passing was a gut punch to the music world. Around 11:35 p.m., as he roared through Atlanta's streets, a driver's fatal error stole his life, leaving him unresponsive at the scene, his death ruled accidental by the Fulton County Medical Examiner, a stark contrast to the vibrant chaos of his performances, evoking the tragic finales of the mythic tales he wove into music. The grief erupted like a thunderous riff across social media and beyond. Mastodon's Instagram post, garnering nearly 100,000 likes, mourned, "We are in a state of unfathomable sadness and grief, heartbroken, shocked, and still trying to process the loss of this creative force," while Alice in Chains' William Duvall tweeted, "This has knocked the wind out of me." R.I.P. to the great Brent Hinds. Tool's Adam Jones shared a somber Instagram story, and Queens of the Stone Age posted, "Rest in peace Brent Hinds." R.I.P. to the great. Fans on Reddit/guitar poured out tributes, one writing, "Brent was always kind, a musician's death that actually hits hard," while another lamented, "Crack the Sky was one of the first times I was exposed to mental health and music. Feels like a very unfair loss." Rolling Stone, The New York Times, NPR, and The Guardian hailed his singular style, with Guitar World noting he took metal guitar into uncharted territory. Tributes from Atlanta's music scene, like Rare Records' donation fund for his memorial, and fans recalling meeting him in Little 5 Points, underscored his down-to-earth charm despite his struggles with substances and band tensions. As we lower the volume on this extraordinary life, let us honor Brent Hinds not just for the riffs that shook stages or the albums that defined a genre, but for the raw, unfiltered passion he poured into every note, reminding us to live fiercely and create fearlessly. May his spirit ride on through the heavy metal heavens, his guitar echoing in our hearts, urging us to embrace the chaos and beauty of a life lived loud, leaving us forever changed by the fire of a true musical outlaw. Imagine a courtroom where justice wore a smile and compassion ruled the bench, now silenced forever as Judge Frank Caprio, the world's kindest jurist whose heartwarming rulings touched millions, left us in tears on that fateful Wednesday, August 20, 2025, passing peacefully in his beloved Providence, Rhode Island, at the age of 88, his life claimed by a long and valiant battle with pancreatic cancer, an insidious disease he fought with the same grace he showed to every soul who stood before him. Born on November 24, 1936, in the tight-knit Italian-American enclave of Federal Hill, Providence, Frank grew up as the son of a fruit peddler and a homemaker, his humble roots shaping a man who carried empathy into every facet of his life. A graduate of Suffolk University School of Law, he served in the Rhode Island Army National Guard from 1954 to 1962, taught American government at Hope High School, and rose to become Chief Judge of the Providence Municipal Court from 1985 to 2023, but it was his reality show Caught in Providence, launched in 2000, that catapulted him to global fame, earning 4 Daytime Emmy nominations and over 1 billion YouTube views for his compassionate rulings, dismissing fines for struggling single mothers, joking with children called to the bench, or sparing a grieving widow's ticket with a gentle word, earning him the title nicest judge in the world. His viral clips, amassing 3 million Instagram followers and 1.6 million on TikTok, showcased moments like forgiving a $400 fine for a mother whose son was murdered, or playfully scolding a bartender's customers not to skip out on tips, reflecting his belief that justice should be accessible to everyone. Beyond the bench, he chaired the Rhode Island Board of Governors for Higher Education, taught at Providence College, and published his memoir, Compassion in the Court: Life-Changing Stories. From America's Nicest Judge, in February 2025, cementing his legacy as a beacon of humanity. In his personal life, Frank was a devoted husband to Joyce Caprio for nearly 60 years, a proud father to 5 children, Frank T., David, Marissa, John, and Paul, and a doting grandfather to 7 and great-grandfather to 2, his family the cornerstone of a life that balanced public service with quiet moments of love and providence. The circumstances of his passing were as dignified as his rulings. Diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in December 2023 after feeling unwell around his 87th birthday, Frank faced the insidious disease with courage, undergoing chemotherapy and radiation at Dana-Farber Cancer Institute in Baptist Health Miami, ringing the bell in May 2024 to mark the end of treatment, only to share a heartbreaking video from his hospital bed on August 19, 2025, revealing a setback and pleading for prayers. His voice steady yet frail, a final act of faith in the community he inspired, before slipping away the next day, leaving a world dimmed by his absence. The outpouring of grief was immediate and global. His family's Facebook post announcing his death garnered thousands of shares, with fans like Linda Miedelschroeder writing, "Judge Caprio lit a path of integrity and compassion. R.I.P." While Michelle Damiano shared, "The judge was a wonderful person, now he will be your angel." Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee ordered flags at half-staff, calling him a Rhode Island treasure who faced illness with bravery. Singer Jewel, whose music soothed him during chemo, said she was honored to comfort him. Social media erupted with tributes. From Lena Perez's "R.I.P. Judge, you were the best, kind-hearted, wonderful man," to Robert Leonard, his friend and restaurateur, saying, "There is nothing he wouldn't do for you." Media outlets like the New York Times, ABC News, and People hailed his empathy, with fans in China praising his humanity on platforms like Weibo, and Rhode Island lawmakers like House Speaker K. Joseph Shekarki lauded his ability to turn lives around through kindness. As we bid farewell to this extraordinary soul, let us hold tight to Frank Caprio's legacy, not just the judge who dismissed tickets, but the man who dispensed hope, showing us that justice can wear a heart. May his spirit guide us to live with his compassion, to see the good in every stranger, and to make the world a little kinder, leaving us forever touched by the warmth of a judge who ruled with love. Feel the curtain falling on a versatile voice that brought depth to every scene, as Dan Ziski, the beloved character actor whose portrayals of authority figures and everyday dads captured hearts from gritty dramas to hilarious sketches, leaves the stage forever in a heartbreaking bow, passing away on that somber Sunday, July 21, 2025, in the bustling heart of New York City, New York, at the age of 80. His life claimed by the insidious progression of arteriosclerotic cardiovascular disease, a condition that hardened his arteries and silently stole his final act just weeks before he would have celebrated his 81st birthday. Born on August 13, 1944, in the industrial grid of Detroit, Michigan, Dan discovered his passion for performance early, honing his craft at the legendary Second City in Chicago before exploding onto screens big and small, amassing over 100 credits that showcased his chameleon-like talent. He stole scenes as the stern yet loving father in the 1987 cult classic Adventures in Babysitting, navigated political intrigue as Vice President Walter Monahan in Netflix's House of Cards across its gripping seasons, brought authenticity to the post-Katrina chaos as CJ Ligori in HBO's Stream from 2010 to 2013, delivered memorable guest spots on Law & Order franchises. 24, Chappelle's Show, where his milkman role in a 1950s sketch became comedy gold, and films like the thought-provoking Synecdoche, New York in 2008, the hard-hitting Concussion in 2015, and even superhero epics like The Dark Knight Rises, earning quiet acclaim for his ability to infuse supporting roles with gravitas, humor, and humanity that made audiences feel seen and stirred. Away from the spotlight, Dan was a man of remarkable warmth and intellect, cherishing his family who remembered him as a creative soul with a keen mind, living a life enriched by talents beyond acting, perhaps drawing from his Detroit roots and university days that shaped his thoughtful perspective, balancing the demands of Hollywood with personal joys in New York. where he built lasting bonds that sustained him through the ups and downs of a journeyman's career. The circumstances of his passing were as understated as they were tragic. After a lifetime of embodying resilience on screen, Dan succumbed quietly in the city he called home, his battle with arteriosclerotic cardiovascular disease ending peacefully yet abruptly, a dramatic fade to black that echoed the finality of his most poignant roles, with his family sharing the news through a touching obituary that invited the world to mourn a talent taken too soon. The wave of sorrow swept through Hollywood and beyond almost immediately. Fans and colleagues flooded social media with tributes, like one devotee on Reddit lamenting, "R.I.P. I remember him as the dad from Adventures in Babysitting," sparking nostalgic threads. Entertainment Weekly announced his passing with heartfelt words, prompting likes and shares from thousands touched by his Truman Chappelle show work. Variety hailed him as a prolific presence, with users echoing sad news. A familiar face from so many great projects, The Hollywood Reporter's Mike Barnes shared a personal nod to his iconic Chappelle sketch, garnering retweets and replies of shock. Outlets like People, Deadline, and the Los Angeles Times amplified the grief, with comments pouring in about his underrated genius in House of Cards. Even international voices like Jean LeBrun posted RIP messages linking to obituaries, while accounts like Look Who Died and Celeb Death Alert spread the word swiftly, uniting a chorus of admiration for a character actor whose subtle brilliance left an indelible mark. In this moment of quiet reflection, let us honor Dan Ziskey not merely for the roles he inhabited or the laughter and tears he evoked, but for the quiet dedication that made every performance a gift, reminding us that true artistry shines in the supporting lights. May his memory linger like a favorite scene replayed, inspiring us to embrace life's complexities with the same grace and depth, leaving our hearts forever enriched by the man who made the ordinary extraordinary.